Thank you, Ian. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Linda Sitoshrana, and I'm from the Kucha Development Corporation. And we are a state-owned entity mandated by provincial government to develop special economic zones and also some infrastructure projects within the province, the country, and indeed within the continent. And maybe before I give you my end in terms of where the potato in itself fits, let me maybe tell you about our new development in the province, which is the Wild Coast Special Economic Zone. And that is situated on the R61 and the N2, which is adjacent to the Mthatha Airport, for those people who know the region. Basically, it is a project aimed at industrializing the Wild Coast as a whole. So it's not only focused on Mthatha, it stretches the entire needs of the actual project. One of the fundamental things that we've had to do at the beginning of the project was to do a feasibility study in terms of what, from a regional perspective, can be produced in the region. The special economic zone in itself has been identified as an agro-processing zone. So definitely that is the market that we are in. And therefore we had to do an environmental scan to see what our region actually has or what commodities we can source from the Wild Coast. And potato is one of the low-hanging fruit routes that have been identified, in that from a regional perspective, potatoes within the Eastern Cape can be grown almost anywhere and everywhere. So indeed, I concur with the speakers that have gone before that there is definitely a shortage or a scarcity when it comes to what we are actually yielding from a provincial perspective. And therefore, you're not moving.
That's fine. Sorry. Just give him a second.
Okay.
Just tell us which slide you want to be on. It's fine. Sorry about that.
I think the one with the map.
The map. Okay.
That's right. So this is what I was speaking about earlier on, in that we've had to do our environmental scan, and various business cases that were therefore outlined as to what those commodities are. And maybe for interest, just in general, from an agricultural space now, it's interesting to note that the land, the soil of the Eastern Cape is extremely fertile, and really almost anything can grow here. There are a lot of commodities that can actually work within our share. Can you please go down? We can go to that final one. Maybe just from a development perspective, before we go to the actual investor pipeline and where we are with that, just to note that we're currently at the stage where we're putting in the bulk infrastructure for the zone, and we envisage that that will have a completion date of next year around June. So really now we are at the stage of development where we're starting to put everything together. From an interest for this particular group being potatoes, one of our investors is actually Africa Agri Products, which is AAP known as, and they are looking to put together a facility that processes starch. Now, we've spoken about potatoes from a different variety. I think Ian noted that there are different types of potatoes and there are different uses and needs for the actual potato. Here, we are trying to, for the first time in our country, have a facility that actually produces starch. The starch that we use for our clothes, the starch that we use for gluing agent in certain commodities. So there's the potato that is utilized as a tabletop potato that we all consume. And then there is aspects of the potato that is utilized for that process. Now, from an interest perspective for farmers, a total of close to 20,000 hectares is actually needed from a farming perspective in order to produce enough throughput to be able to produce the actual starch. I think the gentleman in the front earlier on spoke about the rotational patterns of actual farming, and all of those things have to be taken into consideration. And therefore, we echo the point that says that, in fact, any and all potatoes that can be farmed within the province, there's definitely a market for them. Definitely. From a provincial perspective, one of the things that we've identified, being a rural province that we are, one of the issues that we have identified is the actual skill when it comes to actual planting of the potatoes and the actual farming methodologies that are utilized. I think the other speaker also spoke very well in terms of the various technologies and things that can be done to fast track or move our farming mechanisms or methodologies to where we are currently. So the training and development is very much a big part of what is done. For interest within our projects, government's role is to ensure that there is enabling infrastructure for the investments, and government's role is to ensure that there is all the bulk or the supportive infrastructure is actually there. So this other end is where the private investor actually comes in. So from a project development perspective, we work with the investor to ensure that there is sustainability in the supply chain. So first phase of their development is actually the training and the actual development of the actual farmers to be aware what type of potato that is needed firstly, and the farming mechanisms that also go with that. So there is various clusters of training that have been put together by the investor, obviously assisted by ourselves, and that is ongoing. They have a demo farm that they have put up just outside of Umtata. And this is where the initial now research and development aspect of it is going on. From a research and development, it's very, very much on that share, very high in terms of that share, because like I noted, this is the first type of facility that will be done within our country. So I guess our role is really to open up the foreign markets for the actual end product, to give the not only the farmers but also the actual investor access to those foreign markets and to the local market as well. So from us, that is where we actually fit in from a supply chain perspective. Thank you very much.
Thank you.